Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. Today we were working on a 1997 F350, doing easy stuff, just changing out the air filter. Yes, this is a aftermarket intake. This truck has the 6637 Napa air filter on it. Better airflow, better fuel economy. And we'll be changing out the fuel filter and doing an oil change and potentially rotating the tires, but all depends on time, so let's get to it. For the drain pan, you will need a 3/4 inch socket or wrench, and luckily these older trucks, they put the drain bolt on the bottom compared to the newer trucks. They're on the side and not so hot. They don't drain fully, which is kind of not cool, but engineers know best, I suppose. And for the oil filter, it's a 1734. The fuel filter, I had to go with a Pro Select. Napa didn't have any other name brands in, and I'll be using a Rotella T4 full synthetic. And this, my favorite pliers are these alligator pliers. They bite pretty well and fully adjustable. Makes it a little bit easier to take out the filter. On these older Ford pickups, the filters are on the driver's side, and as the vehicles get newer, they transferred them over to the passenger side. Now, I'm not a fan of doing oil changes on hot motors, but can't always choose. After the service, we'll be showing how to check your differential fluid in both your front and rear differential. So while that's still draining, it's almost done, but I like to grab a rag, wipe this down, see if there's any metal shavings or buildup. This truck looks really good. It has 417,000 miles on the motor. I always prefer grab a rag insert just because it's a good running motor right now doesn't mean it can't change in 20-30 miles or 50,000 miles. My personal preference is also to pre-fill all the filters if possible. So no metal shavings, no harsh buildup. Still have a stout running motor. And in this specific truck, we'll be running some Hot Shot Secrets oil additive, their stiction eliminator, and also have their fuel additive too. So for the oil filter, what I like to do, of course, pull it out, flip everything on the inside to give the box more structure, slip it back in, and now you can easily pre-fill it. If I remember correctly, these filters take a half gallon. Yep, pretty much there. Always grab brake clean, an additional rag. See, the nice part about leaving it in the box, you can transfer it where you need it and it won't tip over on you. What I like to do is I'll look up there, make sure the gasket from the old oil filter didn't stay on, and then take some brake clean, just hose it down, ensure it's that A, there is no gasket left, because sometimes it can hide in the oil, but also you have a nice clean mounting surface. And then I also like to clean the underbelly. Now that everything's done draining, push that out of the way. Now, with the oil filter, my personal preference, I'll dip my finger in there. Some people may say that's contaminating the oil, yada yada yada. Yeah, very well can be, but I use the oil to pre-lube the ring. It ensures you have a seal, and it also helps your seal not dry rot if the vehicle sits, or just even rot in general, and can help reduce the chances of having your filter back out and leaking, because it is now properly sealed. Got the numbers facing out, so that way if you can't remember, you can just look and boom, they're right there. Awesome. Time for really the easiest part, filling it up. Now, I do get to cheat. I have a pneumatic gun and it has a clicker on it, so I can just pull the trigger and go. These motors take about 3.4 gallons not adding in the filter. And right there is your fuel filter. So while this is filling up, just hit 1 gallon. You can break that free and start spinning it out. I use a pry bar, put it right in between the little splits, and then just a rubber mallet. Now at 3 gallons for the oil, let all that settle down. This truck always sees a 3,000 mile service interval. It gets new air filters, fuel filters, and oil change at 3,000 miles. That's why this fuel filter looks really, really good. Also my recommendation, better to do preventative maintenance. It helps save a lot of money in the long run, because if you do your service intervals earlier than required, well, it helps you know the health and longevity of everything. Transmission services, oil, differentials, everything. And it can help prevent any serious damages. And what I do, I just take the gasket, dip it into the fuel that's in there, so that way it gets pre-lubed. And some people will fight, don't use diesel, it'll dry the seals. You are correct, but since this vehicle sees 3,000 mile intervals, it is okay. If it saw anything more, if the owner of this truck did 5-10,000 mile intervals, then I would use oil. It's okay to use oil to lube up your seals. It will not cross-contaminate into your fuel. With this vehicle being such a low mile interval services, it's okay to use diesel. Now, just double check the oil. My only gripe with the 7.3 on the OBS body style, so the 92 through 97, is they put the dipstick so low it's almost hard to find, especially with the vehicle being modded. This one is on stock suspension, but it's rolling on 35s. I have the same truck, but it's on a 4-inch lift on 37s. Makes it even harder to find the dipstick. That's how low it sits. See? Not very fun. But, just so you guys can see, look at that, right on the full mark. And that was stopping it right at 3 gallons, so. Next step on this service interval is the air filter. With good fuel and good oil, now you need proper air so you get the proper fuel to air ratio. Just have a single hose clamp. It's an 8mm. Once it's off, you can just pull off the nasty filter. Well, that one's not. But I did lose the hose clamp. Oh. That's okay. I found it. Fell right into the wheel well. Got lucky. And then, as I stated, for this air filter, it is a Napa 6637. Quite a bit larger than the factory filter. And it just sits right here on your fender. Yeah, it's sucking in hot air from the motor, but it also gets air coming through the fender, so it's a partial cold air intake. Not by much, but partial. You will see a horsepower and torque increase with a little fuel economy. At least with every single truck I've done this on. Done it on my personal truck, on this truck, and on 4 other OBSs that live around my town, and they've all said that they have noticed a fuel increase with a little horse and torque increase. And once it's on there, just tighten down your clamp and that's how you service a 1997 7.3. For the remainder of this video, we will be checking out the forward and rear axle, since this model is a 4x4, and ensuring that both differentials are at the proper fluid level. For that, I always recommend a pick, because you never know how dirty the slot is, and then it will be a 3/8 drive that you will need periodically. You might need this to ensure it sticks in well. And then forward differential. It's in a very easy location. It's right there, right on the face of it. Now this forward differential was rebuilt not too long ago, so that's why this cover's clean. Okay, I'll try. Yep, just the ratcheting wrench. Okay, well, no shavings on the magnetic plug, that's good. I mean, it's a little low. I'll put some in it. It's maybe ½ an inch low, which is nothing to sweat about. Plus new seals, so they're gonna go. And the forward and rear differential on these older trucks take just a straight 80/90. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Doesn't have to be full synthetic. There's 2 different ways you can do it. I recommend finding a hose with a hook like this, so you can just plop it in. Now they do make hand pumps to go on 5-gallon drums. That's what I'm using. Or you can get a hand pump that goes onto your quart bottles So that way you're not wasting any fluid trying to fill these up because you can't get it at the correct angle. Those are the two best items to get. And it might be full. You just fill it up till it starts coming out and put the plug back in. Now to move on to the back axle. This truck does have power steps on it. Pretty neat if you ask me. A 30-year-old truck with power running boards. I forgot this truck has an aftermarket differential cover on it. Right up here, that's right, it's an Allen. You undo this and it's a dipstick, so it'll actually tell you the level it's at. So let me go grab my Allens and check that. I'm going to cheat. I don't feel like finding the correct size Allen, so I'm using my Connect Picks pliers or nit picks, however you want to pronounce it. There we go. Man, it was, oh, it's cylinder. It doesn't want to give it up. There we go. Wipe this off and do another take. Kind of hard to read. I will thread it in, just hand tie it and then back it out. Okay, now let's check. Okay, it's about halfway down, so let's give it a few pumps. Due to using a 5-gallon bucket, I'm having to now go by braille. I'm gonna give it only like 3 pumps, maybe. That's about, ooh, I don't know, half to 3/4 of a quart. Check it. I don't want to blow out any seals on this rear end. Okay, pull this out. Check the fluid level. Oh, 3 pumps did not move it too far up. Okay. So, let's go ahead and try. Do another take. Wow. Now it's that's pretty close, because I know with this aftermarket diff it holds more than the factory, so I'm gonna leave it right there. I know it has more fluid in it than the factory, plus I don't have the little data sheet on this, so I don't want to overfill it. It's getting tight, and that's how you check the fluids and service a 1997 7.3 Powerstroke. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time. Bye.